All right, we are done with another week. Let's go ahead and hop on the scales and see how you did last week.
Hannah, 134.2.
Morning. This is Laura Rattering. 309.4.
Donna, 195.8.
Catherine, 212.0.
So in sixth place, down 2.8 pounds, 2.37%, Miss Susan. In fifth place, down 6.2 pounds, 2.96%, Deborah. In fourth place, down 11.3 pounds, 5.08%, Catherine, our little mama, who we're all doing baby watch on, waiting for that baby to come. I know no one more than her. In third place, down 24.8 pounds, Laura, like 0.2 pounds away from 25 pounds in 6 weeks. So crazy. 7.42%. Third place, Laura, good job. In second place, down 15.8 pounds, 7.46%, Donna. And in first place, also down 15.8 pounds. I think it's interesting that our mother-daughter duo are both down the same amount of weight. 10.53%, Miss Hannah. We are marking our halfway point through phase 1, which is absolutely crazy that we are already there. And so, couple things that I want to talk to you guys about tonight. Last week, you guys met with season 8, and what a blessing, to be able to learn from people who have gone before you, who literally are crushing it, not perfectly, but they're making progress every single week, because it's never about perfection, right? It's about progress, like making moves every week towards our goal, never having a week where we're not making progress towards the goal. And last week, one of the things I talked to you about were habits. And so I would love to hear from you guys first. What was your biggest takeaway from that call? Like, what was the one thing that you were like, oh, like it was your biggest nugget, your biggest aha, your biggest takeaway from that call?
So for me, as they were talking about the habits, like one of the things that someone said was make a habit out of making your spouse's needs a priority, a little bit off topic of health, but on topic of marriage. And what kind of just hit me about that was making the habits that align with my priorities. And sometimes it's very easy for me to have really good habits in other priority areas and not in the priority area of me. And so that's where I've really been focusing these past few weeks, and will continue to focus, is on making the habits that align with my priorities. And I have to be at the top if I'm going to continue to help and take care of my family and accomplish all the things.
Along the lines of what Hannah just said, in making myself a habit, or making me a habit in putting my goals up there to where it becomes a habit of what I'm trying to achieve.
That's awesome. Well, and it's so great because once we have the habit, it doesn't, because a habit, is defined as something we do without thinking about. A habit is like a super highway that just naturally gets formed. It's like when somebody drives to work or they drive to someplace you're used to driving and they can't remember getting there, right? And it's like you didn't even have to think, it just naturally happened. And when you take the time to develop these habits, what's really cool is the fact that in any time, in a time of crisis, in a time of celebration, in a time of, whatever unexpected circumstances, when we have the right habits, they will see us through. For most of us, we emotionally eat. Why? Because we have the habit of emotionally eating. We have the habit of medicating with food. We have the habit of turning to food just as it's an addiction like anything else. It's a habit that we formed, but we're able to form new habits as well. And so the great thing about forming new habits that align with where we want to go is those eventually become the new superhighways. And someday you'll look back and you won't even recognize the behavior you had. You'll look back and be like, wow, like, I can't believe I used to do this, or I can't believe I used to say this, or I can't believe I used to act like that. Like, it really will become this distant memory of, who you used to be, which is super cool. So
Yeah, this kind of goes right along with what you're talking about. This was kind of from Brett in the beginning. That he said it's harder to develop the good habit. It's just way easier to continue with your bad habit and continue on the highway that you're on, versus taking the exit lane and trying to forge a different path. And I definitely think that's important, especially for, I think, people have kids, because you can do that for you and your whole family. And then I liked this other saying that Emily said. This is, whatever we do in private shows up in the public. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Even though you think no one sees there, no one knows about it, they absolutely do.
okay.
So a couple of things. I have worked out for a long time, and I've been very healthy and dedicated about all of that for a long time. However, it has always been so easy for me to say, oh, it's okay for me to have this piece of pie, or I would be good during the week and then blow Sunday off and then jump back on board. And so I always just felt like I was never giving it my all. And so for me, nothing changes if nothing changes. And so if I'm not willing to do it right, regardless. And so it was very interesting for me to have to go through, when I went on my trip and I forgot the scale and I stopped. I have never in my life weighed in a Walmart parking lot like I did the other day, but that empowered me because I did it, because it was, so often I think, that's not a big deal. Let's just whatever. But then it's so easy to the next day say, oh, it's not a big deal, whatever. And to just excuse. And so for me, it was just very, I was proud of myself for sticking to that.
One thing I got, a couple of things, was when the scale doesn't move, is not to give up.
Mm-hmm.
It was exciting to hear their progress. I think one lady lost 14 pounds and then the gentleman had lost 70 pounds. So it was interesting to see how they had done the program, I guess, for the 12 weeks. I was excited to hear their progress. It was very inspiring to me. And then planning is the key. I mean, you have to plan.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things that I will, my assistant will send to you guys tomorrow, is there's this sheet that I use and it's called a habit tracker. Okay. And this sheet is, for me, it's very integral when it comes to developing new habits. And what I will tell you is the biggest mistake that most people make when it comes to developing new habits is they start with way too many. They hear something like that and they're like, all right, let's go. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And they get all these things that they want to change. And as you start, like, focus is your superpower, but when you start dividing your focus, you lower your success rate. So more is not more. So many people think more is more. Well, no, more is only more if you're doing more. If you're not hitting any of the goals, but you're starting more goals, like starting to go after more goals doesn't get you to your goal, your dream body, your dream life. Accomplishing the goal that you set, that is what gets you closer to the life you want to live. So it's looking at, in a year, how many habits can I change? How many goals can I accomplish? And it's not tackling a whole bunch at one time. It's literally doing one or two at a time, and that's it. So it's like, okay, what habit do I want to focus on changing this month? Like, what is the one habit that I want to fill up this sheet and I want to say that I did it for 31 days in a row? Because the only way that we develop habits is through consistent repetition. That is the only way. You're never going to develop, you're never going to create a super highway if it's 2 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 2 days off, 7 days on, 3 days off. Like, you're just not. That's not how habits are created. But when you can get to a point where you wrote your habit down here and you've checked off all 31 boxes, now we're talking. Now things are shifting. Now things are moving. Now things are changing. Then once you get that done, then you write down another one. And there were times, literally, I think my worst one ever is I wrote it down like 9 times before I ever got 31 days straight, because as soon as I missed a day, I would write it down again. And I would start over. As soon as I missed a day, I got 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, missed a day. Nope. Write it down again. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 5 days, 6 days, 7 day, 9 day. Nope. Write it down again. And I would keep writing it down until I got 31 days straight. I did that activity 31 days in a row without fail. And anything that keeps you from doing it, well, it's a reason, aka an excuse, aka a well-planned lie. It just comes down to not making it a priority. Listen to me. I'm going to give you this example, okay? And it's proof that anything is possible when it is a priority. So every single year we do a December marriage challenge, okay? And we read a study years ago where it talked about these couples. There was like 6 couples, and they all decided in this 1 month that they were going to have one person inside of the relationship was going to have an orgasm every single day. And the couples, they weren't doing it together. They were doing it in their own homes, but they were reporting back, hey, we did it. Yep. Check, check. And out of the 6 couples that went through the challenge, only 2 of them completed it. The other 4 did not. But even the 4 that didn't complete the challenge reported back that their marriage got better. Their intimacy grew. They were so glad they did it. Positive things happened inside of their marriage. Well, my husband and I were on an overnight date when we're reading this article. It was on like a news site. It was on some kind of headline, and I just clicked on it. I was like, wait, what, sex challenge? It intrigued me. I clicked on it. I read it, and I was like, babe, we should do this. We should get some of our friends, and we should do this. And of course, my husband was like, okay. Like, he probably heard the angels singing. His wife was like, we need to have sex every day for a month. We had never done this inside of our marriage up until this point. But, you know, I am a businesswoman. I think like a businesswoman. So I'm like, yep, but they got to have skin in the game. This ain't no freebie thing. So I said, here's how it's going to work. Here's what we're going to do. And I said, we should do it in December, because for us in our marriage, statistically, December was the month that we would have the least amount of sex, because, and I only know this because I'm a planner and I am a numbers girl, but because the holidays and family and friends and vacations, like we literally vacation for 2 to 3 weeks in December, and my mom's with us. Are you with me? So, and the living room's right outside of the bedroom, whatever. And I'm just not into my mom hearing stuff, you know, it's kind of weird. And so anyway, I'm like, we should do it in December, but everyone who enters the challenge is going to have to put $250 in the pot. And then if they complete the challenge, we're going to take the pot, and everyone who completes it, we're going to divvy the money up, and we're going to split the pot. If someone doesn't make it, they lose their money. Okay. And so he's like, all right, cool. So we did it. And I was nervous. Why? Because I had never done it before. But as soon as there was skin in the game, I got to tell you, there were so many times in life in our marriage where sex didn't happen, even though we had planned on it, because the kids, because life, because headaches, because exhaustion, because tiredness, because family emergencies, because deaths in the family, because all the things, right? There was one December, we had 3 people pass in one December. 3. And we've been doing this December challenge for like 7 or 8 years now. The 1 year, literally on vacation, one of my teeth broke. It broke. So I come back, the way it broke, they couldn't do a root canal on it and they had to pull it. So they pull it out and somehow I get infected. I'll share the picture of the Marco Polo group. So this is over Christmas. My face winds up. Now, mind you, in the past, would I have let my tooth being broken be an excuse to not have sex? Abso-freaking-lutely, I would have. But when all of a sudden we're in a challenge and something's on the line and we committed, oh no, it's going down. Like ain't nothing holding me back. Like, let's go. So literally I'm laying there. My face is the size. I am unrecognizable. Wait till you see the photo. I remember telling my husband, I'm like, if this pain medicine knocks me out, you better wake me up. If 1201 hits and we have not done the deed, I said, I am going to be pissed. We are doing it. And he was like, you are crazy. But why? Because I committed and there was no way I wasn't going to hold up to the commitment that I had. And so it's 31 days. And so here's my point. Are you as serious about checking in, getting your water in, not eating the nibbles, not doing the whatever? And so for us, that was one thing that we do every single year to make our marriage a priority. And I'm not saying marriage is all about sex, but our marriage grows and intimacy grows. And it is one of the best months of the entire year for our marriage is December. It's amazing. Our marriage grows every single year. We've gotten closer because of it. But what is the thing that you're going to commit to and you're going to check off the boxes for 31 days in a row, no matter what? And I only tell you that story because listen, it's really easy to find a reason of why you can't check in, of why we can't get all of our containers in, of why we can't do the water, of why we can't do this, of why we can't do that. Life's going to get in the way. It is just going to. Life is not convenient, but it's about finding a way to stay committed to whatever you committed to through the freaking crap, through the unexpected tragedies, through the unexpected triumphs, through the unexpected detours, through the unexpected jerks that decided to rear-end you or whatever, through the unexpected oopsies of you locked yourself out or the car and you got to call the towing company, all the things that can just throw a wrench in our thing. It's finding the way through, finding a way to stay committed. And that is what our job is, no matter what life throws at us. And I tell you, that marriage challenge has taught me so much because I stayed committed to a commitment that I never would have under normal circumstances. There were lots of reasons. Hello, my tooth breaking, being on all kinds of medicine, like crying because I was in so much pain, my face being so swollen, I was unrecognizable. Wait till you see the photo. All those things would have stopped me. And by the way, they would have been good reasons. But it was about honoring something it was about something bigger than just sex. It was about a commitment that we made to make our marriage a priority, to come together in this way every day for 31 days. And so look at whatever habit is your biggest pain point right now. What is the one keeping you from really getting the results you want in your life, in your health? And that's what goes on here. That is what goes on here. And anytime you miss a day, you start over again. And sometimes you might get it right away. And other times you might have to, I'm a pretty quick learner, but sometimes I can be hard-headed. So normally I have to rewrite it 2 or 3 times. It's like, Carmen, girlfriend, you better freaking get it together. Do you want to fill up the whole page? How much of your year do you want to waste on this one thing? Like, how much of your year do you want to waste on this one thing? It's one thing. It's not that hard. So for me, one of mine was unplanned nibble, unplanned cheats. The bite, Susan. It's just one bite. And it was like, no, but it's an unplanned bite. The thing, it's the same thing with an airplane. If a pilot starts off going from Atlanta to Dallas and the plane gets off just a tiny little bit, it lands someplace not in Dallas. So the difference between success and failure is often measured in inches. It's the little tiny things. It's never the big things. It's the little things. And so I'm going to send you guys this to habit tracker so you can print it out and figure out what habit do you want to write. And I would start with one. I would start with one. When you focus on one thing, you have over almost a 90% success rate. When you try to focus on two things, it cuts it in half. Try to focus on three, it comes down to just over 4% success rate. So start with one. And if you miss a day, write it again. Don't let your, do not, I don't care how good you think your reason is. I don't care how good you think yeah, but Carmen, this happened, that happened. Nope, you didn't get it done. Start again. Start again. Okay. And see how long can you check off. And as soon as you get 31 done, then you write another one down. You keep still doing that one, but then you write the next one down. Does that make sense? And there's something psychologically about checking it off. Catherine, you're scaring me. Don't do that. Are you going into labor? Your water break?
Oh, that would be too good. No, I'm not.
I'm like, what's going on?
No, I'm running a little hot, but don't mind me. I'm fine.
You know, we're on baby watch here. Anyway, my question for you this week is, what is the one thing that you are going to write on your habit tracker first? I know last week you guys talked about the habits, but this week you're actually going to imply this thing called the habit tracker. And so what is the one thing that you are going to write on here first? What is the one thing that's going to make the biggest difference when it comes to the life that you want to live? And so we're going to start over at the top. Catherine, let me bring you up.
Okay, so definitely for me, it's going to be meal prepping for a month straight, not 2 weeks and then a week off and then a week on, whatever. Meal prepping a month straight, and that includes Saturday and Sunday, because I found that when I was doing just Monday through Friday, it gets a little weird on the weekend. I'm going to do 7 days meal prepping and eating the meal prep for a month that I make.
All right, for me, it's going to be getting back on track with the time that I want to get up. When we first started 6 weeks ago, I was really doing great with getting up at 4:30 so that I can have time to do my energize, my workout, and still have my quiet time, my devotional time before everyone else wakes up. And over the past couple of weeks, that's gotten a little bit later. It's been closer to 5, sometimes 5:15. And I find that when I get later in the morning, then I will rush through my devotional time or even skip it altogether. So like at first I thought I'm going to write down doing my devotional every day, but then I realized that to be successful in doing the devotional, it's got to start sooner than that, right? I've got to plan to make the devotional a priority. And how I do that is by getting up at the time I need to get up at. And so I'm going to write down getting up at 4:30.
For me, will be meal prep.
So when you say meal prep, what specifics about it? Like, what is the habit when it comes to the meal prep? Is it weekly? Is it daily? Is it prepping all the meals? Like what are the
prepping all the meals? Because when I do the meal prepping, I'm better about, eating for my goals. And then if I think, I'm going to do it, I'll get up and make it in the morning. It doesn't work out so well.
I want to kind of change some of my habits at work. I want to usually just eat lunch at my desk. So I want to get up and leave my office and walk around at work and walk a few laps. And there's nothing or no one stopping me. And I'm excited to try to make that a new habit.
Okay, so mine is also business related. I have an assistant, and my whole thing is my leadership skills with my company and with my assistant. checking in, whether she's going to be virtual or in office. I have to every day do the thing. So I know I'm going to have a plan with her. You know, I have to set my expectations with her, and I have to voice my opinion, because I'm very, you know, when I get busy and my schedule is like boom, boom, like it was today. I mean, I just literally had to close off appointments and head to the next one. And I'm like, I never even checked in with her today. And so for me to set a standard of how I want my business run, what do I want from my assistant, and what are, and then implementing that.
And what I wrote down was meal planning. Not so much the prepping, but to dig into more healthy recipes. I mean, I do the turkey taco meat, I do the chicken breast in the crock pot. So I need to get away from that and do more healthy recipes. So I'm going to find at least 2 new recipes a week and make those.
As we come into this 7th week and as we cross over the halfway mark in phase 1, it's really, you know, in the beginning, we had this thing called excitement, but after 6 weeks in the program, the excitement starts to fade. And that's where we have to replace our excitement with intention. And this is where intention has to kick in. And this is where we have to be intentional with our check-ins, intentional with doing the right activities, intentional with the water, intentional with eating the things, and making sure, just like we did from the very beginning, it's the same thing we do now. Every decision we make, it's asking ourselves, does this get me closer to my goal, or does this get me further away? And if that decision takes us further from where we want to be, it's not only a no, it's a HE double hockey sticks no. And when you start to ask that question, you, like literally, you're going to start to see the life, the health, the body, the butt, the marriage, the business, the finances you want. When I went from being, you know, I grew up really poor. And, you know, you have someone in their early 20s start making millions of dollars, and you grew up poor. The only thing I knew how to do was spend, to prove that this poor girl who grew up in a double wide trailer on a farm in Michigan with mouse turds in the pantry, you know, I wanted to spend my way and show everybody that I was no longer that poor little girl, that I had made it. And so I spent everything. I mean, I won't even tell you guys all the things I spent money on. It was so ridiculous. Those of you who've been to First Steps, you've heard some of the story. Like literally, we took limos everywhere. We had our own limo driver on call. Season tickets to all the sporting events. Like just obscene, ridiculous. Like renting limos for friends' birthdays. Like taking, like just wild, crazy, stupid things. Why? Because I never had a vision of where I wanted to go. I think back now and I'm like, man, if I would have invested all that money I made, you know how further ahead I would be. But we can't ever go back and be like, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but we can learn from where we've been and do better moving forward. And that's what we're doing. We can't go back and change the past, but we can be intentional and change the future and where we're going. And so proud of all of you